What's going on, everybody? Just be your boy
DJ Anonymous.
DJ Anonymous with another episode of Sports Biz Music. And I got a very special guest on the show. I got my main man, Darrel Frater, on the show. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Doing okay. You know, cooling in on the Wednesday night. Just chilling, taking it day by day. You know how it is.
Definitely.
So before we get into the questions and to the whole podcast, introduce yourself to the listeners.
Great, and I appreciate you having me. My name is Darrel Frater. By day, I'm an investor. I work at a venture capital firm called Visible Hands. We invest in underrepresented founders at the pre-seed stage. We write checks between $25K and $500K to women and founders of color that are starting technology businesses and businesses that can scale into big companies. I'm a founder myself, an entrepreneur myself. Mm-hmm. I founded a company called The Club, and we're a platform that allows solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people that run their own businesses to be able to take their passion and turn it into a career. Mm-hmm. We do so through our live streaming platform.
So the club, what was the main motivation behind that, like creating that? Because I just had a producer on the show last night, and we was talking about how the pandemic, it was like a gift and a curse. It was a curse, of course, because a lot of people like myself, I lost a job. I lost some people around me. People got real sick. I know people who had businesses, they lost a lot of money. But it was like a gift because it kind of gave people that normally just work a 9 to 5, like a wake up to be like, you could be creative, you could create your own business. So was it because of the pandemic, or was it just like you just started seeing the vision of something else?
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head. In 2020, June of 2020, exactly, that's when I came up with the idea to launch the club. We were deep into the pandemic. I had a lot of DJs in my network that were telling me about the fact that all the clubs and all the places where they'll do their shows and their events were shut down because of the lockdown and the pandemic. And a lot of these DJs were trying to live stream to their audiences on Instagram Live, but because of copyright issues, that they didn't have the proper way to actually stream the music, they'll always get banned and muted and shut off. Mm-hmm. So when that happened, I figured, there's an opportunity for us to create a platform that allows DJs, producers, singers, comedians, anyone that has entertainment and the ability to take their talent and turn it into a business to be able to do so via live stream. Mm-hmm. And then we set out to build the club app. And right off the gate, we're able to build a strong community of DJs that are on the platform and streaming music to their audiences. And we give them an easy way to, one, get discovered by their fans, then two, to be able to monetize those audience by allowing them to get tips within the stream, as well as helping them get bookings for their in-person events.
Wow.
So we really see this as a strong platform that gives people distribution and ability to build their audience that can convert into actual customers.
Wow, that's crazy because I just realized what app this was. I don't know if you who run the social media, but they reached out to me probably like a couple years ago, and I know a DJ named DJ Ant. He from Florida. He from down here, and he did an interview. And I think I was supposed to do an interview, but I think it was like $25 or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I know this app now. I know this.
Yeah,
app,
man.
I was like, sound familiar. I'm like, somebody reached out to me at one point, but when I was going through the social media and I went on Instagram, I'm like, yeah, I remember y'all. It was on my old account because my old account got hacked. So I had to rebuild a new account on Instagram. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. We had a podcast as well. Mm-hmm. We called it the My DJ Story Podcast, yes. And I was able to interview over 191 DJs that shared their story about how they got into the game, what was their motivation and passion to get into the industry, and just giving other DJs advice on how they broke in and how they were able to build their brand and their career. So DJ Ant was on there, and a lot of DJs from Miami, from Florida, from all over the place. We had a lot of DJs, and they are the core, peoples of our community. And without that initial community of people on our podcast, the app community wouldn't have existed. So I appreciate all my brothers and sisters that was on the My DJ Story podcast, and we're going to be bringing it back real soon. So we're going to be looking for more guests. So I'd definitely love to have you on our show as well.
Of course, because I like to share my story and kind of semi-retired, but every time I talk to different artists, different producers, different anyone that's dealing with some type of, like, you an investor, so you really a part of the music industry. You just in the background, you invest, you build a program, you build a community. So by talking to y'all, it's like, dang, I do kind of miss DJing. I miss being more close up to the music, more close up, because that's one thing about being a DJ. Artists is to always ask me to go to studio sessions and just listen to songs they made from scratch, or songs they made years ago that was thrown away, but try to resurface it, or try to promote it. So yeah, I'm down for that.
Definitely. Yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, man. So overall, what got you into wanting to be an investor? Because I had a couple VCs on here. It was early in my podcast career, and I believe he was an angel investor. But before we get into the nitty gritty and the education of an investor and different types of an investor, what motivated you to want to become an investor?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. For me, I grew up just always being a big fan and an advocate for entrepreneurship. My father is an entrepreneur. He, came from Jamaica, and all he knew was the ability to build companies and build his businesses using his skill set. And, me seeing him build his companies and growing up, just knowing entrepreneurship was very important. As I, went to school and try to think through, what's going to be my career path, I realized this extension of entrepreneurship as an investor, as a professional investor, it's very powerful, because as an entrepreneur, I can build 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 businesses over my lifetime. But as an investor, I can be involved with tens, hundreds, even thousands of companies that I'm invested into. And it allows me to really be involved in enabling so many different entrepreneurs to do amazing things in this world. So my passion and my goal and mission in life is to play a major role in closing the wealth gap, to close the disparity of the people with money and the people without money. And oftentimes the people without the money are the people that look like us. And I want to use my ability as an investor to give capital and resources to entrepreneurs that are going to change the paradigm of who has wealth in this country and globally. So that's my passion and why I chose the career path of becoming an investor, because I know the impact that being able to control these dollars can have on people all over the world.
So how? Because I want to start investing. I want to start being an investor. I remember when I first started going on LinkedIn heavily when I was going for my master's degree. Something about investors, whether it was real estate investors, whether it was tech investors, whether it was just, people who just invested in different companies. For a person like me, a regular person like me, or a young 18, 19-year-old college student, how can they get started being an investor? How much capital should they have to even thinking about being an investor, invest in different businesses and help different startups?
Yeah, so venture capital and just investing in general is something that actually has become much easier in today's day and age. In the past, it was, really guarded for just people with a lot of money, where you had to have, a strong net worth of a lot of money, over millions of dollars in assets to be able to make investments. But today there are new ways to get involved for oftentimes as little as even $100. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in a career or to professionally invest, or even just supporting your friends and people or your family as they're starting businesses, to learn about the different ways to get involved in investing. And one of the ways that I started out, that I made my first few investments, is through equity crowdfunding. So there are different companies out there that have these portals or these platforms called equity crowdfunding platforms. And on these platforms, entrepreneurs can put a campaign about their business, and the general public can actually make investments, usually as small as $100, $200, and up to as much as they would like. And these platforms allow these founders to raise over $5 million on their platform, and allows the average person to get involved and become an investor. So the platforms that exist today, they have WeFunder, they have Seed Invest, they have a lot of different other ones. If you just Google equity crowdfunding, you'll be able to see the different platforms that exist, and you can get started by equity crowdfunding. And that's one way, but there's also many other ways to get started as an investor. You just got to do your research.
So I have $100, and I do my research. I pick a equity fund website company, and I'm like, you know what? I see a company. All they want is $100 to help their company grow. So $100 of that investment, because of course you could invest as much as you can, right? Before I think it closes or something like that, right?
Yeah, it depends on the campaign.
Okay.
Some of the founders on the platform, let's say their goal is to raise $200,000. Once they hit that goal, sometimes they can go beyond it, or they can just cut it off right there. So it really depends on the entrepreneur and what they set their goal to be. It's almost similar to like a Kickstarter, where people on Kickstarter, they're trying to get a product funded, and people are pretty much doing pre-orders. So they give you the money up front, then a couple of months later, or even years later, they develop the product and ship it out to the Kickstarter backers. With equity crowdfunding, you're paying money to get equity or ownership of the company, and the goal is to the company to use that money to build their business and then eventually become much larger. So that way your investment is worth much more, and eventually you can sell that equity if they become, a public stock, or if they get acquired by a bigger company. And that's the goal. That's the business of investing. You invest your money to get ownership or equity in the hopes that that company becomes more valuable, and eventually you get to sell that at the higher value and get your return.
Okay.
That's the business of investing.
So because I got to pick your mind, because it's something I've always been interested in. Because I went to FIU. FIU was one of them schools that was always big on startups, but at the time I was young. I was trying to graduate. They used to have these seminars. They used to have these events. They still do it, I believe, where they have people come in. It's like a trial or a competition where they have these startup companies. People start bidding. It start at like $25, $30, $40, $50. Then it goes up. And at the time, I didn't even know it. But, as I did my research, I wanted to, eventually do it. But as an investor, so you telling me you would rather invest in a startup? Because there's different ways to invest. I just want to ask you this for me and a lot of people that want to know this information. So would you rather invest $100 or more dollars in the startup than invest $100 to get a few stocks in the company?
Yeah, so the risk profile of investing in an early stage startup versus investing in a startup or a company that's on the stock market is much different.
Right.
So at the startup stage where the founders are just getting started, sometimes they just have an idea, sometimes they just started building the product. When you invest that early, it's very risky because oftentimes those companies don't actually make it
Right.
to the point that you can actually sell your stock and get a return. But if they do make it to that exit, on the stock market or get acquired by another company, a lot of the times the investment that you make is going to have a multiple that's tremendous. Whether it be 10 times your investment, like you put in $100, you get $1,000 back, or even 100 times, even in some cases 1,000 times, where that $1,000 that you put in becomes $1 million because of the multiple that company has grown, and either got acquired or went to the stock market. So at the early stage where I invest professionally, it's high risk, but if things work out as planned, the reward can be tremendous. Hopefully you get to invest in a company that becomes the next Facebook or Uber, or a company that becomes what we call a unicorn that's valued over $1 billion.
Right.
That's every entrepreneur's or every investor's goal, to get in early and join the founders on this journey to make their company super valuable and eventually share the win with them once they have that huge exit. As opposed to being on the stock market, those companies are already big and established, and the publicly traded stocks like you buy on like Robinhood or any other stock broker, typically the risk is not as dramatic. Typically those companies are not going to completely go to zero, but they may go up or down depending on how the market's doing, how their business is doing. But you usually can sell that stock whenever you feel necessary. With a startup that you're buying equity in at the very early stage, actually there's no liquidity until many years later often. So that $100 or whatever you invest, it's going to stay there until that company reaches the stock market or is bought out by another company, as opposed to the stock market where when you make an investment, you have liquidity usually instantly.
Yeah, that's something. That is why like I want to invest in startups, but I'm kind of scared because, like you said, you have companies that could be the next Facebook, Uber, Lyft, Google, but then you have other companies that they won't even make it in the market. They won't even make it past a few rounds, and it's just like the money become wasted, in a way. And but I just see more. It's a high risk, but I just see more like, especially in today's era, where, like I said, the pandemic was a gift and a curse. But what the pandemic also did too is force us into 10 to 15 years in the future, and a lot of people don't even notice it. I was just having a conversation with someone the other day, and I was telling him that it's some companies, like even local companies down here in Miami, that they don't even have a website, So like we have to go with the times, and there's a lot of people that's like that mindset is like 10 years, 15, 20 years back, Some people don't even want to invest. They scared to invest. But I always encourage them. I say, if you got the money, of course be smart with it, but instead of spending thousands of dollars on shoes, spending on that $1,000 could go to a startup. That $1,000 could go to a stock or ETF or something, or even a potential like real estate, like some part of land or something. If you're trying to buy something, if you're trying to buy up land with a group of people, so it's amazing what investing could do for people, for us, especially for our culture.
Definitely, man. And I think that that's part of the problem, the lack of education or understanding of these opportunities, and the fact that when you put your money into things that can grow, you're going to have more money that you use for other things. But if you start out by putting your money in these things that aren't going to grow, then you're stuck in the same spot. So, really getting savvy and understanding like the opportunities that are open in the investment world, and figuring out what is the right asset class to invest for you. You want to invest in things that you understand. For me, like I said in the beginning, I love entrepreneurship. I love business. So I love being able to look at a business and make an evaluation whether I believe in the team and if they're actually going to deliver on the things that they're going to say in their business for me to make that investment. Other people, you might really understand properties. You might really understand real estate. You may really understand, like, hey, I see that this property is going to be able to increase in value over the next 10 years. I want to make that investment. It's really great to invest in what you know, but take some time to learn new things. Because if you don't go out and learn new things, you're not going to have that foundation of information that you need to make an informed investment decision.
I have a question. How do you feel about Bitcoin or like just cryptocurrency as a whole? How do you feel about that? Like right now,
Yeah,
this current state right now, because with the whole thing with the FTX and everything, like I'm very close to it because they was a sponsor for the Miami Heat. There was a whole bunch of athletes that, you know, trying not to go too deep into it, you know, because, you know, it's crazy, but a lot of people lost money from that particular company and stuff, and people, you know, it's crazy right now. But like, from as an investor, like, how do you feel about crypto right now?
Yeah, so cryptocurrency, Web3, Bitcoin. I believe in the technology. I love new technology because of what it unlocks in regards to efficiencies in certain tasks that need to happen. So the efficiency that Bitcoin and this new cryptocurrency, this digital technology brings is the ability to send money to other people anywhere in the world very cheaply and more securely in some cases. I love the technology, but it really depends on the actors or the entrepreneurs that are using this technology and building businesses on top of it that determines if it's going to be valuable or useful or not. So, you know, with the FTX situation, there's, you know, some bad actors and some people not really being good stewards of the opportunity they had. So I believe in the technology, but it's always it's a tool, and it's all about the wielder. Who is actually the person that is wielding this tool, and how are they going to use the tool? Are they going to use it for good, or are they going to use it for bad? So I'm bullish on the technology, but it just has to be used in good use cases.
I just feel like even when I heard about cryptocurrency, I was very skeptical at first, and I'm still learning because I feel like it's a market, you know, like you said, because I love tech, because we're gonna talk about this too, but it's just like I talk to people close to me all the time, like, you know, if it was up to me, I would just rather invest in stocks because it's been here the longest. Even in this down year, you know it's going to rebound in the next 5 to 10 years. I think the problem that people have with stocks is that it's like, it's literally like gambling in a way. Like, everything investment is gambling, but like messing with stocks is like, it's a slow pace, but then one day a company could sell their stocks, or a company like value could just go up, skyrocket, like what happened with the GameStop, what happened with the AMC stocks, and, you know, people become millionaires. So in that time, people like, dang, you know what? I want to invest in stocks, because before then they never did, but they don't understand that it's a lot of stuff that goes on because of that. That the hedge funds, all that stuff it's a lot that goes into that, you know. But yeah, when it comes to like crypto, it's like I'm still learning. I may invest little by little with that, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's good that you're dabbling into it. I always recommend never invest more than you can risk.
Right.
You know, if you have short-term needs, short-term financial needs that you have to meet, whether you got bills to pay, you got, children you got to take care of. Right. Just make sure that you're not putting those things at risk, because there is the opportunity to lose everything. But if you have a certain cushion or amount that you can invest, to learn as well as potentially make more money, it's good to just give it a shot, so that way you can learn the ins and outs. So that way it can potentially be a long-term opportunity for you to start generating some more passive income. And we need to start getting into that mindset of teaching our brothers and sisters that there's opportunities to make money where you don't have to sacrifice your time. You don't have to go to a regular 9 to 5 to make good money. You can actually invest your assets, to invest your capital to make money for yourself. And these are things that, I want to be able to teach and educate the other people and support everybody to become independently wealthy and also financially free. And I think that this is really important for people that look like us to get into and to learn more about.
Yes, because my mom, it's crazy too. My mom, it was probably maybe, I want to say almost 2 years ago, we had this conversation, and it was random because we was visiting my grandma's grave, because she was talking about like my grandma and her parents and her great grandparents and all that. So my family, like from my grandma, so they all from the Bahamas. So if people know the real history of Miami, if it wasn't for the Bahamians and the African Americans, Miami wouldn't be here, right? So anyway, a lot of the Bahamians, they believe in landscape, they believe in real estate, they believe in farming, they believe in all of that. So my great grandparents, one of them, my great granddaddy, he did the numbers, like he was pretty much his own, like, he was the gambling man, but he ran his own like operation and stuff. And then my great grandma, she was into real estate. So my mom, she tell me stories all the time how, they had the money, they had all these businesses, but then when it started, when they started like talking about investing in stocks and bonds, investing their money, where they can't see or touch it, it became a problem for that generation. Generations before our generation. But my mom was like, "No, y'all got it now, because it's like y'all not afraid no more. Y'all invest in everything now. Y'all not as our culture, as our people, we not afraid like the generations before. Like, yeah, we may have our questions and stuff, but even I see it like." And one day I went to Starbucks, and there was a group of young men, like I'm 31, so they was like, in college, high school students, talking about investments, talking about stocks and bonds, talking about cryptocurrency, talking about, in a few years they want to invest in real estate, they want to do Airbnb, and for me, I'm like, it's crazy how we came a long way. In my opinion, I still feel like we have a longer way to go to have that solidified like freedom, that wealth of freedom. Because some of it is not our fault because of different circumstances. But right now, like I tell all everybody that's close to me, it's the right time to invest in something, especially right now in this market. So.
Definitely, man. No, I love that you pointed out, the young guys that were there talking about investing in these different asset classes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's dope because it doesn't matter what age you are. Right. The internet has unlocked the opportunity for you to learn whatever you need to learn. So you don't have to go to school for this stuff. You don't have to have a degree or have a job in these industries. You can just go on the internet and learn whatever you need to learn. You can go to YouTube. You can go to Google. They got even new things like ChatGPT where you can, type a word or a sentence and they, give you the answers to whatever it may be because they're using artificial intelligence to generate these answers. You got to be up on these new ways to learn because all this information is out there pretty much for free. And the people that are going to use this knowledge to leverage their ability to build wealth, they're the ones that are going to win 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line. But if you're not taking up this time today to learn, you won't be able to have the knowledge to leverage that opportunity to make money and to build wealth for yourself and your future generation.
And how do you feel about because I got Charles Schwab. I went through Robinhood, I went through Stash, Acorns, and I was like, I need to be with a broker that's been here for a while. and I went with Schwab, because to me everything was easier for me. Everything was organized. Everything was there. Like my retirement funds, my daughter, she got a broker account. Like I didn't know that children can have broker accounts by the time they was born. Once you get that social, and when I did that for my daughter, I felt that was probably the proudest moment of my life, because it's like by the time she 18 years old, I mean, I still would want her to go to school, but at least she'll be more stable. She won't have to go through what I went through, typical college students. 'Cause I tell people all the time, it don't matter if you stayed on campus or you stayed home for school. You still struggled. Like, I remember me driving from home to school every day. I'm like, man, I need some gas. And around that time when I was in school, gas was like high, like $5-6. And that's in Florida. So, like, for me, it's like from your perspective, and you just had your child as well. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, not only saving up for your child for the future, but also helping them, invest and stuff little by little.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I want to just commend you for being very proactive of already having an account for your daughter, and to be thinking about her future and her financial future and her ability to build wealth. So I commend you. And that's awesome that you're sharing this information publicly to your audience and to the people listening to this podcast.
Thank you.
And you're an example, man. I'm very proud of you. I think it's super important for everyone to, first get into some investment opportunities yourself, get savvy, learn about it, but then also pass on not only the actual finances, but also the information and knowledge to your children. Mm-hmm. Because if you just give them the money, but you don't teach them the skill on how to make it themselves, then they might be the generation that drops the ball, and they're back into the same situation where you started, or your parents started, or a generation before that didn't have the money. Right. So teaching your children and teaching the people in your community on how to build wealth is just as important as giving them the resources to do it.
Yeah, it's very important, because, like you said, like in our community, we just want to be financial. We want to be financial. Like, we want to have freedom, pretty much. We want to go to sleep. Money, we got money there. The money making us the money and stuff. We tired of being, working 9 to 5 and stuff. And even people that enjoy working 9 to 5s and stuff like that, at least they know that when they have their day off, they getting paid, and they don't have to work until they 50, 60 years old no more. They can retire earlier. A kid right now, if he invests at the age of 21, by the time he's 35, depending on how he, put his money into different things, he can retire between 35, 45 years old and still, have a whole life ahead of him, or a whole life ahead of her, So it's just, the power of investment it need to be. It was a trend at one point, because a lot of people were talking about it, but it need to continue to, we need to continue to talk about it, because it's very important, especially in this market right now. Like, it's free season right now.
Definitely.
So let's talk about technology right now. Let's talk about the tech world. You said you're very interested in tech. How do you feel about tech right now, as far as like the evolution of tech? Like, we seeing electric vehicles right now. I remember at one point with cell phones, they didn't even take pictures, but like, you could check your emails, you could do all this stuff you could create a podcast on the phone, on the iPhone or Samsung. Like, how do you feel about the evolution of tech right now?
Yeah, for me, as a investor in early stage technology companies, I'm always amazed by new technology that's emerging. And my job is to find the new technology and the entrepreneurs building these new technologies, so I can give them the resources so they can continue building and using technology to help people in the world. So for me, you know, I'm constantly looking at new tech, looking at new innovations that can help people. And I think that technology, it really gives new opportunity to change the world and makes the world better and more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great thing, just like the discussion we had earlier about cryptocurrency, that technology can be used for good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really about the people's choice of how they use that technology. So right now we're seeing a strong emergence in the popularity of artificial intelligence. Just like I mentioned earlier with the chat GBT, these AI bots that are using artificial intelligence and machine learning to be able to compute massive data to answer questions to people's responses and prompts in very unique ways. That's one area that a lot of investors are looking into, about how different use cases are going to be used to use ChatGPT and other generative AI to build new technologies that are helping people. We're seeing apps being built with code that people are typing in prompts. I've invested in a company called Alta, and Alta, they're using that kind of generative technology to allow people to build full-fledged apps just using normal text prompts. Those are the things that I'm looking to invest in, those things that can change the future and become those companies that are enabling people to do amazing things in the world and to build businesses on top of them.
So do you think that, because, you know, everybody had their opinion, you got different, you know, scientists, theories. Do you think that technology will be so big that it's going to be certain positions that's not, like, they don't even need, you know, humans anymore, or it'll still be, you know, a real person there, but the technology will probably enhance, like, it'll make the whole process easier? Do you, like, what like, being in the tech world, how do, like, what do you see this direction in the next 10, 15 years?
Yeah, in the next 10, 15 years, and I tweeted this out a couple of weeks ago, I personally believe that AI is not going to replace people anytime soon.
Yeah.
But what will replace people is people using AI are going to replace the people that's not using AI.
True.
And you have to use these new technologies and understand them, because they add massive efficiencies to people and their output. And those people that learn today how to leverage them are going to have a massive competitive advantage against the people that are not using them. So if you want to keep innovating in your job and keep moving forward in the things that you're doing today, you have to stay on top of a new technology, because you're going to be competing with other people that are learning this technology. And if you're not keeping up, then you're not going to be able to compete, and you are going to be able to, you know, possibly lose your job, or it might be put yourself at risk. So to protect yourself, to protect your livelihood, you have to stay on top of this new technology, or you might get left behind.
So you originally from New Jersey? You from New Jersey?
Yep, I live in New Jersey.
So let me ask you this question, because it is sports biz music. Do you follow sports? Do you have, like, a favorite team in each sport, or?
Yeah, so I follow sports a little bit, not too much. Especially now as an investor, I've actually been getting into sports a little bit more. You'll be surprised at how close the investment world is to the world of sports and professional athletes. A lot of them are becoming investors, so I've made a lot of friends in the NFL and the NBA since becoming an investor. I'm starting to get more savvy in sports, but I definitely want to learn more as well.
So we could talk about that. How is it, like, you know, sports meets tech? Like, even in the streaming era, when you got, you know, Hulu, they have live sports. Amazon, I'm hearing, because I'm going for my doctorate, and in one of my classes talked about how Amazon is trying to have, like, a Friday nights deal with, like, the whole NCAA, where they trying to, you know, show football games like they have with the NFL on Thursday nights. Like, how do you like? How is it like working with former athletes and working, like merging one of the probably two of the biggest industries, like sports and tech? Like, how is it even, working with former athletes and hearing their ideas and, you talking to them about the ideas? Like, how is it on a day to day?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. The firm I work for, Visible Hands, we work closely with the New England Patriots.
Mm.
They made an investment or gave us a grant earlier last year of 100K to support what we're doing to invest in diverse and underrepresented founders. And they're, as a team, are very interested in teaching their players about investing. So my team a few months ago actually went up to Boston to go meet with the players and to teach them about angel investing and venture capital investing and how they can get involved. It's super important for athletes and anyone that has large amounts of money, but have a finite time that they're actually going to be generating that money, to figure out how do they let that money stretch and maintain them for the rest of their life.
Mm.
So, we came in and we spoke to a lot of the athletes about how to use the money to invest in early stage companies in a way that can potentially fund your retirement and your livelihood beyond your current time playing the sport. So yeah, I think that the crossover of sports athletes and tech and investing are happening more and more, and these conversations are happening very much often. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing a lot of NBA players, NFL players, a lot of these athletes that are launching their own venture capital firms.
Yes,
so I have a lot of, have a lot of friends that are former athletes or current athletes that have launched their own venture capital fund, and now they're making their own investments into early stage startups. It's super exciting to see, and I love the fact that especially there's a lot of them that are people of color that are doing this as well, mm-hmm. and they are an example for other people to get involved because of the big influence that they have. Sports is a very big thing in the United States. It's something that people really attach themselves to. So these people with influence, the athletes that are, these megastars on the field, are now talking about investing and teaching people about how to make money through investing, which is just super exciting to see them use this platform mm-hmm. in a very meaningful way.
Yeah, because I don't know if you've seen that 30 for 30 thing. It was called Blowing Money. It was talking about the athletes, how they used to just blow money, like going to strip clubs, making stupid investments as far as like buying cars, buying like houses and stuff that's like, that was way over the asking price. You gotta check it out. I don't know if you're familiar with the 30 for 30 series on ESPN. I'll send you the 30 for 30 because it was very interesting. But to come from that to now where, you even have like rookies coming in, 3rd year, 4th year vets coming in, having their own like you said, investment firms. They have their own companies before they reach their prime, and this is like, it's just beautiful for me because growing up, I grew up a nerd. I grew up playing video games. I grew up always on the computer. My mom used to hate it, but now you see how everything is so like tech savvy now. You have companies that you wouldn't even think of like want to get into tech. Now they in tech. Now they investors now. So it's just amazing to see. It's amazing to see, in my opinion. Hello?
I love it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So, what I was about to say. So, you know about the NIL deals, right?
Yeah, I invested in a company last year that's helping college athletes because of new laws that have changed and allow college athletes to make money now on their name, images, and likeness. So yeah, I invested in a company called Athletic last year,
Yeah,
So yeah, I know a little bit about that space.
yeah, because it's like the question I wanted to ask was, do like, are y'all going to start, like, contacting athletes, like college athletes, to like teach them how to invest in startups, companies, and invest in general? Because right now they just passed a law in Florida and Michigan where, in order for a high school student, which is finally, I'm glad they doing it, um they have to take a financial, like, literacy class, to learn about taxes, to learn about investing, to learn about saving, learn about bank account and everything. So, like, do y'all see yourselves in the future with your company, like, talking to, like, college students, college or student athletes?
Yeah, I think it's super important that schools are now starting to teach their students about financial literacy. I'm loving to see the new laws that are going on in the various states. And I think that it's important that children and kids are learning about this stuff as early as possible, because the earlier they know this information, the earlier they can start leveraging it and set themselves up well for the future.
Right.
So for my firm, Visible Hands, we don't do too much in regards to youth entrepreneurship, but in my past, one of my earliest businesses, I helped run a youth entrepreneurship program. It's called the Urban Entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
Company. And with urban entrepreneurship, we were really focused on helping people in urban cities, especially the youth, to learn
Mm-hmm.
about financial literacy and entrepreneurship. And my, passion for helping and serving youth, is something that I definitely want to be able to do more as I build myself in my career as an investor, because I want to just give right back and get more people to understand the opportunities in investing and getting them to know it early, so there can be more people that are funding the next generation of entrepreneurs. So if we continue this cycle of people growing up and becoming successful, they can teach other people how to be successful, and that cycle continues. And that's how we create change within our ecosystem and help Black and brown people and people that look like
Mm-hmm.
us succeed in life. So I think it all starts with the children. We got to do the work to teach them.
Yeah, we got to, and I'm glad you said that, because at the end of the day, it's really about the youth, and it's about the urban areas. You know, growing up in Miami, seeing a lot of the changes, and I talk to people about this a lot. You know, the big thing is gentrification. That's everywhere. That's everywhere. It's happening everywhere. But my thing is, I want us to buy back the block, meaning that, yeah, fix up the urban areas, but also, like, allow these kids, allow these people to to own these businesses, to say that, hey, we this family own, like, keep it like, keep it how it used to be back in the day. Like, I hear from all the old timers, like, just own the corner store, own the gas stations, own the barber shops, own the schools, like, etc. Like, so I really appreciate that for what you said, because it's something that it needs to be more. It needs to be more broadcasted more.
Definitely, man. And what you talked about is also just building up the community and actually owning our own communities, where we own the businesses, where we are the entrepreneurs that are making things happen, that are bringing products and services to serve our own people within the community. And that thing, I would say, has been lost a little bit more than the prior years, 20 plus years ago, where a lot of the people of the community that look like us were the owners of these businesses and owners of the different services that happen in the community. And I think it's time to bring that back and
Mm-hmm.
to give people the resources that they can bring it back and teach people how to do these things. So that way we can bring back that economic impact that it was happening and creating within the community. Because when the money doesn't stay in the community, it makes it harder for the community to live and to thrive. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have these businesses that are operating in the community, the money stays in the community, and it allows people to really be able to build up together, and for everybody to support and everybody to have a really healthy financial situation.
Right. Yes, man. That's the goal. So before we close out the podcast, and I really appreciate you for coming on the show, and we got to have more talks like this. First question is, what are your top 5 investments? Like, what are your favorite investments so far that you're very proud of?
Man, so we have made over 90 investments at Visible Hands.
Wow.
So I'm proud of all the 90 investments that we made. So I can say a few of them that I'm really excited about. Then also I'm going to talk about some other investments that I think that are super important. Besides the equity investments that I made into companies. So I want to shout out Hire Henry. They are a robotics company that help build software for robotic lawnmowers and other types of robots. The founder, George, he's really dope. I really appreciate our friendship and how he's been just building his company. I'm excited about Alta that I mentioned earlier. The founder, her name is Sanka. They're a no-code tool that allows people to easily build beautiful mobile apps using generative AI. Their goal is to allow the everyday person to be able to build an MVP or initial version of their app very easily. That company is super important to me because in my founder journey, I spent a lot of money building apps or paying developers to build my apps. And if I had a tool like Alta that can help me build my apps much cheaper, it would make building a company much less risky. The next company, I'm going to shout out is Billy. Kim, she's an amazing entrepreneur out in Atlanta. And Billy is a platform that helps families and helps mothers gather support to raise their children. So they make it easy for people to give money and give support to a mother that's raising a child. Their slogan is, it takes a village to raise a child, and they're building technology to help these mothers and people to support their raising a child. But like I said, we have so many amazing founders in our portfolio. Those are just a few. But you can also go to our website at visiblehands.vc, and you can check out all the companies that we've invested into and all the founders that are in our portfolio. Another thing I would like to say in terms of my favorite investments is just my investments into myself and into
very important.
Who I am as a person. I don't want to get too churchy or anything, but about 5 years ago.
No, do it, bro. Do it. You got you.
Yeah. I gave my life to Christ 2018, and that has changed my life and who I am as a person. It allows me to give freely and to really focus on not what I'm receiving, but what I'm giving, and to serving everyone else and serving other people. So that investment I made into my life, into knowing my Savior Christ, it really changed my life. And I encourage everyone, if you don't know God, to start to get to know God and read the Bible, find a church home, and really get into the Word. It changed my life, and I know it can change yours. So I would say that investment was the best investment I ever made in my life.
Yes, because like we talked about earlier with the pandemic, and just everything the last 10 years, I felt like it was just a test for a lot of us. And one thing I always preach is about faith. Always having faith in God, having faith in yourself. We all go through different types of tests. We all, we even have our days where we I have a story real quick. I was in the 11th grade. It was the first time, because I heard many stories about when people used to be like, man, they gave up, on God. They gave up on their faith. And at the time, before then, I ain't doing that. But it was in the 11th grade. Everything was just going, it wasn't going my way. Grandma was sick, It was just a lot going on that year. And I remember my auntie Roz, shout out to her. She used to tell me all the time. She said, as long as you got God in your life, as long as you have your faith, even going through the trenches, you will always have it. And ever since then, I'm like, I've been even, I grew to be even more close to Christ, close to, God, close to my faith, So when I hear people, talk about that all the time, I'm like, man, all you gonna grow even stronger, because we all go through that.
Amen.
Yeah, man. So the last question that I have is, where do you see yourself and your firm and your companies, 5 to 10 years from now? But ultimately yourself, where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
Yeah, so like I said, I currently work at someone else's firm,
Yeah.
Visible Hands. I'm not the founder of Visible Hands, but my ultimate goal is to build my career as a VC and to the point to where I can launch my own fund
Yes.
and my own venture capital firm. So 5 to 10 years from now, I hope I'm in the position to where I can launch my own venture capital firm. And my thesis is going to be to supporting entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, individuals that are looking to start a business, and backing entrepreneurs that are enabling those entrepreneurs to help them succeed in their companies. So that's my goal. Hopefully, within 5 to 10 years, or next time we chat, we have that venture capital firm that I'm running up and running.
Yes, sir. Don't forget about me. I may have some companies that I need some funding, and I always have great ideas. Like I say, like I want to invest in companies, but I also want to create my own, especially with the after school programs and stuff. That's something, and the different academies and stuff. But we'll get into that, off the record. But yeah, man, thank you for coming on the show. You got any shout outs, any recognitions before we close it out?
I just want to say shout out to all the entrepreneurs out there. If you are a founder and you're looking to get in touch with a venture capitalist, I'm always open and available. I love to give free game. I love to teach people about VC and startup life. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm active on LinkedIn. I'm active on Twitter. Active on Instagram. So you can find me. My name is the same everywhere. Just my name, Darrel Frater. That's DARRELFRATER. And I love to chat with you.
Thank you for coming on the show. You will be a regular now. Like I said, don't forget about me now.
I got you.
But everybody's been your boy,
DJ Anonymous.
DJ Anonymous, with another episode of Sports Biz Music with my boy Darrel Frater, and we out. Peace.